So upon completion, once you've finished watching this video, I want to make sure that you know the key things to consider to really make sure that your offering is as thought out as it should be, and that it brings you confidence rather than perhaps complication, let's say. So the first thing that I want to really zone into is that I want to highlight the importance of packaging your offering rather than doing once-off sessions. A big thing that a lot of people do when they start their careers is they do once-off sessions. And for me, I'd be encouraging you to avoid these. And the reason being is oftentimes one of the biggest determining factors in the success that we have with clients is the relationship that we develop, the comfort, the safety, the security that we build in our one-to-one relationship, and how important the effect of that is. And so if you're doing a once-off session, it is really hard to develop that. And no doubt in time you will. But to start, I would encourage you to package your sessions together so that you can attack certain issues or things that come up over time. And that safety and the security that I talk to naturally builds. That's kind of the first key thing with regards to it. But also as well is that instinctively we value packages more. So let's say, for example's sake, you sell one session, and let's say it is $100 an hour. Okay, but if you were to package 4 sessions over 4 weeks with support in between, well, you could very comfortably charge $500, which is just a 25% increase, and more often than not, people do a 100% increase or a 200% increase. There is something about how people look upon a once-off, small, little, bite-size offering and a package, a duration, a time period, a commitment, an engagement. And so the other obviously has a much higher value perception. And so when we do our sessions as an individual, we oftentimes don't get to charge what we would like. Whereas when we group them together, the appearance of value is much, much more so there. And so you can find yourself earning a lot more per hour's work. It's a funny little thing, but so much of this is. The other thing that I want to consider or note with you is, where are you going to do your sessions? So for so many in times of old, this practice was face-to-face. And a lot of the time people mixed their sessions with clients over a training session, for example's sake, or a walk or something active. Whereas what I would love to encourage you to do is to host your sessions over video, over Zoom. And the reason being is, from the work I've done and the experience I've had, it's lovely for a client to be at peace and comfort in their own space. And if ever I did a session in a location, I was always interested in terms of the stress people took on getting to that location, the commute. And so oftentimes when they came in, they were that little bit fried from their commute. And that was disruptive. Whereas when somebody is engaging with you from where they are, when they're most comfortable, in Zoom, it places them at ease. And that's on their side. I also want to talk about yourself. If you're dealing with clients remotely, you can be at ease. You can be at your space of comfort, which is really, really important. And it also kind of leads me to one of the really nice things about this work is that you can do coaching remotely from anywhere in the world. Right now, despite the odd background, I'm in Bali, Indonesia. I have recorded some of these calls in Ireland, back home, and no doubt I'll record some of these other calls in different places. And that's a thing that brings me so much joy, and really I feel it brings me so much more value from this career path, and I would love to share that with you. So it's kind of interesting that, like, at the very start of your practice, if you build it online, you will always be online and able to do your work from wherever you like. However, if it's location dependent, bear in mind that can be quite anchoring. And that has its pros in a lot of ways, but I would like to open you up to I suppose, more. And the opportunity as well to work with clients from anywhere and everywhere in the world, rather than just local to you. The next thing is the timing of a session. How long do you want your work to be with people? Is it 60 minutes? Is that what feels comfortable? My sessions that I do with clients are between 60 and 90 minutes. And the reason being is I never want to give people a sense that I suppose that they're time constrained. And I found that generally speaking, whenever an hour was up, I was a little bit constrained with clients. But I felt that it naturally kind of ended around that 70, 80 minute mark. And so it was lovely for me to say to clients, my sessions are between 60 and 90 minutes. Now for others, and very much depending on the work that you're doing as well, your work could be 30 minutes or your work could be 2 hours. But it is important to think about what a session looks like for you in terms of time duration and what certain times, how certain times might complement you. Like for example's sake, half an hour means there's no time for chit chat, you get straight into it. And half an hour can be fantastic in consulting. But for me, my work is as a hybrid between coaching and consulting. And so I like to allow a little bit of time for relationships to settle, energies to settle, and things to really open up. And there's other practitioners that would say 90 minutes is just not enough. Really, it needs to be 2.5 hours. And that's something that as you are doing your work wherever and however you can with people, I'd love you to feel into where you're most confident, where you feel most comfortable. Is it in a shorter time span or is it in a longer time span? But certainly the idea of really approaching all of this now in terms of building your one-to-one coaching practice is that I'd love you to think about what's working for you and what doesn't, and to, in time and through experience, put some real shape on your one-to-one offering. The next thing is how often. So if we're selling our sessions in packages, let's say of 4, or let's say of 6, how often do you do them? Do you find that in the work that you do, you need to support people every week, every day, every 2 weeks, every month? Let me give you an example. I actually work with lots of coaches myself personally, so I think it's nice to give some personal inputs. I have worked with an intimacy coach, a relationship and intimacy coach, and we worked on a weekly basis, which I found really good. If we worked daily, it would have been way too consuming. If we worked every second week, there would have been too much of a disconnect between sessions. Whereas I found a session week to week was really good and it allowed a continuation of where we left off. I work with people on their businesses in 2-week cycles. So I work with clients every 2 weeks. Reason being is we have a session, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of stuff to be processed, decisions to be made, action to be taken. And so time is needed. As my relationships with clients continue on and grow, we move from 2 weeks to 4 weeks because we cover more in the meetings. The meetings become less coaching, more consulting, and the clients need more time to process, make decisions, take action. If you're working more in a counseling or life coaching capacity, shorter terms can be important because generally speaking, people will come for that work in times of real need and high impact is needed. And so I'd love you to, as you are experimenting and as you are coaching where the opportunities present themselves, I'd love you to see and check in with yourself and check in with those that you're working with and see, is this person complete in totality? Is this person complete for where they are now? Perhaps should we come back and have a conversation? And I'd love you to get to understand your work and your relationship with your clients and see what works best. Perhaps say to somebody after you've done a little bit of coaching with them, hey, would you like to sit down and have one of these chats again in a day or in a week or in a month? And see how it feels for you and see how it works for them. And over time, fingers crossed, as I said, upon completion of this overall program, you'll have a really clear idea of how often you do your sessions. The next thing is how many sessions to a package. And, I think there's a difference between an introductory offer and then an ongoing offer. So say, for example, like in my case, new people coming to work with me, we work for 3 months. We do a session every 2 weeks for 60 to 90 minutes and a total of 6 sessions over those 3 months. And that is really good. Now, if somebody wishes to continue on, we run over 6 months. We do the same 60 to 90 minute session, but we do them monthly. So 6 sessions over 6 months. And that's what I have found really works for me and really works for my clients. For yourselves, you might find, I want to build introductory relationships. It could be 4 sessions over 4 weeks. That's my introductory offer. And then we do 4 sessions over 8 sessions, 1 session every 2 weeks, over 4 months. Oh gosh, I hope my maths isn't letting me down there. But that can be really interesting. And I'd encourage you to think about this now and let it naturally take shape as we progress. So the idea is that we are planting a seed of thought for where you are right now. You don't need to have all of this perfect right now, but no doubt in time you will, and it will come hopefully very, very naturally. The last part of this that I want to tackle into is the coaching for free idea. And, I've already encouraged this. I've said, coach friends, coach family, coach people on the side of the street, coach where you can in small little segments. And the next thing I talked about from there was that I said, look, just make sure that when you are coaching, you're asking permission. As in, would you be comfortable if we did a little bit of coaching on this? I think it's really important that you set your containers and you let people know when they're stepping into a professional capacity. And I think, as I said, for where you are in your career right now, you are going to get just as much value from experience and practice as they are. And I don't think it's right to charge upfront. Now, this is my personal opinion. Other people have different perspectives. But I think as your career develops, your pricing will develop. And we'll get onto that in another module. But right now, I think it is really, really important that you do coach for free to start, to build your reputation, to build your experience, to trial and test methods, to get people talking, and to ultimately get people coming to you. And my hope is that if we do this over the coming weeks and months, when you really put yourself out there, you'll have a queue of people wanting to work with you because of this free work that you've done. So it will no doubt prove its dividend to you. The only thing that I would love to emphasize is to have some terms and conditions associated with that. And so, in the initial sense, we talked about informal sessions. And as this process continues from here, you will start to better formalize and shape your sessions. As I said, if somebody comes to you, you're going to say, okay, well, we'll do a session for 60 minutes once a week for 4 weeks. That will be our working relationship. And you might be doing that for free, but you might be developing, as I said, understanding your one-to-one offering and developing terms and conditions around that. For example's sake, if we commit to this, you commit to prioritize the time. If you don't turn up to a session, we will stop the relationship because it's a clear indication that you are not valuing the relationship. That could be a term and condition. Another could be that you will be truthful at all times. After all, you can only work with what you've got. And if somebody's showing up and telling all sorts of fibs, you're going to get nowhere. So you need the person's commitment to actually fully open up. Confidentiality might be a big thing. Might be, look, if you're coming into me, I want you to also keep this practice confidential between us. But there's other things that could be very advantageous. You might say, and I think this is really important, if we're working together, we'll do it like this, and I want at the end of the day for you to give me a testimonial. That could be one requirement. You could say, I would like you to take it upon yourself to make 3 honest, genuine recommendations over the following 6 months. And this is where it gets really good because, now your free coaching work that you're doing to build your experience is helping you put shape on your practice, is helping you get testimonials, is helping you get referrals. And this is really important that you put this shape and this understanding with the people that you're working with so that they know, okay, I'm getting into this, I'll share a testimonial, I'm happy to do recommendations. And these are the kind of things that if you are focused on, that in time, as I said, when you complete this course, you won't have to worry about spending money on ads or anything like that because you will just have such a natural flow of clients coming to you off the back of this foundationary work right now. And this is something that so many people cut themselves off when they say, I'm not doing any free coaching. There is a time for that when you can't handle the amount of inbound leads that you're getting from referrals upon the work that you've already done. That's fine then, but don't do it too soon before you've developed your expertise, before you've trialed and experimented with little new tactics and tools to work with clients. and you've worked with enough clients to build enough referrals, testimonials, endorsements. That all is so, so important. Now is the time to be doing it. And I would really, really encourage you to do it.